In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the concept of triadic construction over a major scale. Really, all I've just said is I'm going to build a triad above each of the members of a major scale and then actually also of a minor scale. And we're going to see, well, what type of triads are naturally occurring in the major scale or in the minor scale. Like many things in music theory, ultimately a visual picture says much more than I can trying to describe it verbally. So let's go straight over to the board where we can see what I've drawn up here, and hopefully what I'm about to say will become very clear as soon as you see this. Now again, assuming you've watched the videos up to this point, you understand what a triad is and you understand what a scale is, and you're able to clearly and easily think through those materials, those ideas, those concepts, then what I'm about to say is not going to be terribly difficult to understand. If, however, you don't know what a scale is, you're not fluent in your understanding of it, you're not sure about triads and what they are, go back and check those videos and make sure you understand that information before you watch this, so that this makes sense, it doesn't confuse you. So, what I've done here is essentially, as I've marked in green, I've written up a C major scale. And hopefully that is not, as I say, not a shock to anyone. We have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then if I were to complete the scale, I would have another C at the end. But I don't need the complete scale, because ultimately if I were to do what I'm going to do to each of the notes, that is to say I was going to build a triad on each one, if I did it here on C at the end, I'd end up exactly where I started. So there's no reason to complete it for the purposes of understanding this concept. So we have essentially a C major scale ascending here, and then above each member, each scale degree, I have drawn in a triad. It's a standard triad. It's exactly as you would expect. Above C, I've put E and G. Above D, I've put F and A. Above E, I've put G and B. I've just gone in and created triads. Now, what you'll observe is that each triad has been created within the context of C major. That is to say, I have not changed or adjusted any of these notes. I have, in essence, if we go over to the keyboard here, all I've done is I've played the chord of C major. I've played the triad that is found built naturally above the note C, and then I've moved in my thumb up the key of C. I've gone up each note like that. That's the green notes over there. And above it, I have played exactly the triad that would naturally occur if I played the other two notes necessary to create a triad naturally in the key of C major. So it's as though I've gone like this, all the way up the key of C. Now, I would highly recommend that if you're near a piano, you pause the video and you go and go to that piano and you play the series of triads all the way up C major. Just put your hand on, play a C major triad, then just move each finger up one white note and keep going up all the white notes until you get back to C at the other end. You would actually play one more chord than I've got written down here if you went to C, because that would be the chord that would complete this. But it ends up being exactly the same chord as you began with. So I would recommend you do that if you're near a piano. If you're not near a piano now, watch the rest of the video, go and find a piano later in the day, see if you can play it all then. It's good, it's a good exercise to do, because it should immediately tell you something, and that is that not all of these triads sound exactly the same. They are therefore not all major triads, nor are they all minor triads, or all diminished triads. They are a mix, and that's the important concept. That within the key of C major, we have a mix, a variety of qualities of triad. We will have some major, we will have some minor, we will have a diminished. As it happens in major, we don't have any augmented triads, but when we look at minor, we will find there are indeed some augmented triads as well. And all of these triads become available when we're writing music in that key. So just because you're in C major does not mean you only hear major. It means you hear a mix of major and minor. But the way you mix major and minor triads is what creates the unique sound world that we call major. Now we'll get to how do you pick the triads you want to use, how do you mix them together, how do you create progressions of triads We'll get to that in a later video. For now, we just need to identify what are the triads so we know what we have to deal with. Well, let's go through and identify them. And again, assuming that you understand triadic construction, I'm going to go fairly quickly here. Some of you may already have glanced ahead and have, in a sense, realized what I'm going to do next, which is to say that as we move through the various triads that we've built here, we can identify them, and we would identify that the first one here is in fact major, C, E, G. The second one is in fact minor. It has a minor third, and then it has a major third. That's the way that we construct a minor triad. The third chord is in fact a minor triad. The fourth chord is a major triad. The fifth chord is another major triad. The sixth chord is a minor triad. And the seventh chord, this one's a little bit more unique, it has a minor third and another minor third. Two minor thirds create a diminished chord. So the qualities of the chords that you find in major are major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Now, we refer to these chords in music theory using Roman numerals. And we use Roman numerals as just a convenient label. We also use a series of what we call uppercase Roman numerals and a series of lowercase Roman numerals. Now, the Romans didn't have lowercase Roman numerals, but we have kind of invented them for various usages in modern typesetting. And in music theory, the lowercase refers to minor and to diminished chords. The uppercase we use for major and we use for augmented chords. Now, when we use augmented chords, we add a plus sign. When we use diminished chords, we add a circle. So we may have, for example, a 7 chord that is diminished. So it would be lowercase to show it's diminished. It would have the little circle to show that it is diminished. We may have a 3 chord that is augmented. It would have a major, a capital 3 to show it's major in origin, to show it's augmented. All right, we use major and we use augmented, have uppercase. So this would be uppercase to show that it's one of these two, in this case augmented, and it shows it's augmented by adding the plus sign at the end of it. If it were just a major chord, we would just use uppercase. If it's just a minor chord, which we might encounter, say, here, then we just use lowercase, all right? So we have this for major, this for minor, this for augmented, and this for diminished. All right? Let's hope that doesn't look too confusing. Hopefully you get the concept. So now as I go through this major chords, the chords built above a major scale, I find they have a variety of chords, and I can label them appropriately. So I can say this is a 1 chord, this is a 2 chord, this is a 3 chord, this is a 4 chord, this is a 5 chord, this is a 6 chord, and this is a 7 chord. And you see that the labels reflect the quality of the chord. Now we use Roman numerals just as a convenient label, as I say, convenient label for identifying chords. We will be using those in class. We also, of course, use, and perhaps more frequently in the case of the class we're studying now, we'll be using guitar chord symbols. And those are as follows. For this particular set, we have C, then we have D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, and B diminished. Again, the chords exist in order to give us information, and they tell us everything we need to know about the chord. They tell us whether it's major, they tell us it's a triad, and they tell us, basically they tell us it's a triad, and they tell us what its quality is, whether it's major or minor or diminished. In this case, it could also say augmented if we needed to with a plus sign. So that's all the information that you need to understand the qualities of the chords naturally found in major. Now, once you know that, the question will be, okay, that's great, so now what do I do with it? Well, that comes in a subsequent video, and we will get to that. But for now, I just want you to know how this works in major. I'm going to stop there for a moment, let you have some time to think that through, make sure you understand the concept, and then I will restart the video as a separate video to talk about minor. I think it makes more sense to let you have some time to think about the major, to make sure you have the concept of the Roman numeral chords and how we use those, and assuming you understand all of this, then at that point go ahead and go on to the next video, which will cover the same kind of information. It will just look at what this all looks like if we put it into minor instead of major.